Welcome to the Jerome McClain Show. I'm your host, Jerome McClain, and let's get into our episode.
Intelligentsia, the endem of sarcasm, the nutty professor to your whack-ass marmalade. It's T-Bone from T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. Now available in podcast format. Simply search for the T-Bone and Chick Brew podcast, available wherever fine podcasts are sold.
On ABC this week. It's fascinating to contrast. Faz Shakur is here. He is Bernie's former campaign manager in charge of what is the More Perfect Union, and Donna Brazile presenting two different visions of what the Democratic Party be. And what's fascinating here too is that you can see that Shakur has something to talk about. That is this economic populism. You can disagree with it, but the only thing that Brazile has to talk about is what we're not. Go ahead.
All right, the roundtable is back. So Faz, let me ask you about what we just heard before the break from Mayor Mamdani, saying that basically the Democratic Party needs backbone. Is the Democratic Party heading in his direction, Democratic Socialists of America? I mean, we saw another DSA candidate win the primary here in D.C. They got to the runoff in Los Angeles. Is that where the energy in the party is now?
Yeah, and populist left candidates, Graham Plattner, Abdul Al-Sayed, a bunch of people who are doing very well right now. And the reason...
There it is again. You have Faz saying, really, when we're talking about the Democratic Party, the idea is you need an economic populism that is going to go after the entrenched moneyed interests. That is the primary thing. There are other accoutrements that are regional, that are, sociological, depending on where somebody's coming from. But the fundamental building block that everybody must have is this economic populism and being able to identify the enemy. And that enemy, again, the AI, the tech bros, the billionaires, etc.
All right now, and the reason, well, you have to ask why. Why are they doing so well? And part of the reason what Mayor Mamdani is saying is you have to have an agenda. So we're living in a period of scarcity. Donald Trump is saying $132 billion for Iran. That's great. We should spend that. Instead, we can't have Medicare for all. We have to cut Medicaid. Can't have affordable childcare in this country. Got to cut food stamps. Can't do anything about decency of raising the minimum wage to a living wage. No, none of those things are possible, according to Trump and according to most conservative center left and center right politicians, status quoism. And here you have a movement that is building support because it's saying here's an affirmative agenda of a vision that is improving the lives of working class people in this country.
But Donna, can that agenda win nationally?
Look, the affordability agenda has many voices. And at a time when the Democratic Party is still searching its way out of the 2024 campaign, I feel like every week we're in the coroner's office reviewing another autopsy. It's not just about your spine and your brain and your heart. It's about making sure that you have an agenda that inspires the American people, whether you live in Washington, D.C., Seattle, New York, that, yeah, they may be moving in that direction, but most Democrats are pragmatic. They're centrist. They're also bold in their solution. They understand that progressives want a voice within the party. But I don't believe that this so-called energy is going to carry us forward unless we can build coalitions.
Okay. She's talking about, I almost want to replay this because you have never heard so many words deployed to absolutely avoid describing anything. It is fascinating. The energy, like we need something that goes across the country. He literally just said, from Plattner in Maine to Tester in Montana. It's not the entire country, but you got to go like one more state, west there.
Then bring in Vegas in California.
But the point is that he is saying something. Now you can disagree. Her response, but they're more pragmatic and more moderate. What does that mean? They want less affordability. Some people want things to be affordable, but there are other people I want things to be not affordable. What exactly is she saying?
I want to compromise on affordability.
She is not saying anything.
Yes.
Except for, I don't know, this seems a little weird.
And their obsession with trying to de-link Mamdani's rise from the so-called affordability agenda, it's pathetic. The reason this was on their radar wasn't just because Zoran was out there talking in platitudes vaguely about how, everything needs to be more affordable. He had specific policy platforms and agenda items that he has delivered on, most of them at this point, that were going to achieve that goal. It's a vision. It's not a buzzword. That's the difference. But they don't want to be they do not want to be hamstrung by a vision. They don't want to be hamstrung by a vision or specific policy.
This is the thing, is that she's talking about we need to build a coalition, but she's not saying between whom. You have Faz and Katz on that other show are saying we need to have a through line. You're going to have different flavors of this food, let's say, but the fundamental building block is this economic populism, and then you build a tent because maybe you have somebody don't agree on immigration. We're going to have to compromise. We're going to have to compromise when it comes to guns. We're going to have to compromise. Maybe one person's for ethanol because of where they're from, etc. But the fundamental underlying aspect of this is this notion, call it the affordability agenda, you call it, there's a problem, you call it anti-oligarchic, whatever it is. She can't come up with anything. Just go back a little bit and let it play out, because it becomes even more sort of pronounced.
So bold in their solution. They understand that progressives want a voice within the party, but I don't believe that this so-called energy is going to carry us forward unless we can build coalitions, and coalitions that can earn us the votes of the American people.
Oh, we got to build coalitions that earn us the votes. Okay.
This is fine. In this post-2024 period, for the rise of folks like Mamdani, they have to show they can actually do the job.
Okay, pause it for a second. Listen, it's just I want to cut here, but my loathing for Chris Christie is so great, and it's almost not instructive of anything except for somebody who just goes on and absolutely talks total bullshit. First off, if I remember correctly, Chris Christie's approval rating when he left the governorship in New Jersey, aside from the fact that he was on the brink of being indicted for shutting down the GW Bridge.
For political reasons.
The dude, I believe, his favorability rating was somewhere either in the 20s or the 30s when he left.
I thought it was in the teens.
I mean,
I thought it was in the teens.
Well, it may be in the teens. At one point, it doesn't matter. Nobody liked him. No. Nobody. The rump of the Republican Party liked him. Zoran Mamdani has, in 6 months, done more than I think any mayor I've seen in this city accomplished in 6 months. Bloomberg did a bunch of stuff. A lot of it was because he just paid for it, because he's a billionaire. But none of it that had the wide-ranging impact. No universal program, no universal childcare. Never mind the potholes and whatnot. And I just want to keep this just to watch Emma lose her mind.
I haven't seen this clip yet.
That's the thing, is none of these people have a model for what they're talking about of actually governing, because they can't govern in 2026.
They can't say it. To the extent that they can't even come up with a fake one. That's what's amazing about this guy.
2024 period, for the rise of folks like Mamdani, they have to show they can actually do the job. He's in the easy part right now. He gets to give speeches. He gets to wear a Knicks jersey. He gets to, run a parade, which I was there. It was sketchy in terms of the way the city helped to run.
It's off to a pretty good start, though, isn't it?
But John,
pause it for a second. I just want Emma. Was the parade sketchy?
No. It was also, you can blame the NYPD for that. But there wasn't enough room. There were too many people. Although,
Chris Christie?
Look, well, is he the one
floating above Madison?
I'm sorry.
Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, he prefers a different kind of parade. Is this the one man on the planet whose body has rejected the GLP-1? Sorry.
Also, you put 2 million people in a space, some things might happen.
Yeah, what do you expect?
Yeah, I don't know.
I stand corrected. You were right. His approval rating by late 2016 to mid 2017 was in the teens.
Yep.
Showing he can do the job.
When he was caught lounging on the beach as they were shut down due to Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah, visible like 200 miles.
Or there was a statewide government shutdown, and he still went to the beaches that were closed off to everybody else.
But yeah, let's ask him about governing.
Yeah.
He couldn't even get a job on the fan. I mean, give me a break.
I mean, he's off to a great start. What does that mean? He has not yet accomplished any of what he talked about in his campaign.
Well, childcare expansion has occurred. Potholes are being fixed. Snow shoveling occurred.
You've driven in New York, potholes are being fixed?
Of course you have.
And that's why, you want to believe the rhetoric the Mamdani people put out. They're fixing things. He hasn't done anything yet. I'm not saying he can't.
Oh, yeah.
He has
Liar.
So to say he's off to a good start, he hasn't thrown up on his shoes. Well, congratulations. That's a great thing. And he can run a rally for a team that wins the NBA championship. Great job. What he's saying right now is all rhetoric and no accomplishment. And I think
this is just absurd. This is just absurd. We already have the child care, which in and of itself was the only thing he accomplished during this administration. It would put him in the top 10%.
How many small business regulations and fines and paperwork did he reduce?
There was how many tenants just by exercising and changing the policy from that one landlord have improved housing now.
Today he was announcing emergency heat protections for workers at like our airports. Maybe Chris, you ever work outside in the heat?
Chris Christie's not going around looking at the freaking potholes, believe me.
And the
Give me a break.
car.
Exactly.
He's busy at the potluck.
I wonder if ABC this week provides him a ride into the city. Give me an effing break. This dude took a helicopter to the beach.
I mean, the standard for media, they'll have any schmuck come in. I understand, like, Fox News having him come in. Like, what? Chris Christie ended in disgrace.
It is unbelievable.
Zero news. Like, book someone who matters.
No, he's a contributor. He's been there for a long time at this point. This is what he was rewarded with. I would be, I'm sure, horrified to see what they pay.
Low-level crook. I'm going to close on a bridge because of a political thing. Like, if Zoran did that?
I will also add that the guy was a scumbag in the wake of 9/11 as a U.S. attorney.
Yep.
No, I don't care anymore about him. I just, honestly, I was more interested in the
reaction from
Faz and Donna Brazil contrast, and then I just let it roll a little bit more. I'm like, oh, God, F this guy. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Welcome to the Jerome McLean Show. I'm your host, Jerome McLean. Independent media that will not reinforce tribalism. We have one planet. Nobody is leaving, so we must reason together. So, the clip that you just heard, kind of self-explanatory. That was from Sam Cedar over at the Majority Report. And I have to change the tone. When I did record that particular clip, I want to say it could have been 2 or 3 days ago. We are now, it is 4:26 a.m. on Sunday morning, and we're going to go to some different news here in a nonpartisan way.
You are on the West Coast there. How are you processing this news that has just come in, the shocking death of a senator who had just been in Ukraine and had just met with the Ukrainian president, and now we're learning he has died?
Yeah, I mean, just posted a bunch of statements onto X yesterday in his official capacity. Pictures and images of him working over the last few weeks are out there. So this coming out of nowhere, that Lindsey Graham, one of the most important and influential voices in the United States Senate for many years, somebody who has been one of the biggest champions of more United States military intervention, somebody who has championed the idea of military intervention in Iran for many years, somebody who's championed the United States relationship with Israel very closely for many years. And now, all of a sudden, there's been so much conversation about Mitch McConnell's medical reality right now. Nobody would have thought this would come now. It's been an extraordinary life of public service, a controversial life. Somebody who was in the United States House of Representatives for many years, been in the Senate for many years as well, became a close ally of John McCain and Joe Lieberman. They called themselves the Three Amigos and viewed themselves as sort of mavericks within the Republican Party. And then he ran for president in 2016 and said very negative things about Donald Trump at the time, but then would become one of President Trump's greatest allies. Just this week, posting on social media that he was the GOAT of all presidents and has been a steering force more recently of President Trump's military intervention in Iran. There are 100 senators. Not all of them stand out. Lindsey Graham is somebody who has stood out for a long time and has been one of the most important members of that body for many, many years.
And he just turned 71. June 9th, he won the South Carolina Republican primary, seeking re-election for Senate. Nobody expected that he wasn't going to continue traveling, wasn't going to continue pushing the causes that are important to him. Although, as you mentioned, those priorities and those causes have certainly changed over time. Some have sort of wondered, what is Senator Lindsey Graham's center? Do you think we ever really knew that?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Has anybody ever told you you were over-opinionated? How about this one? You can talk about everything you like, but don't talk about religion. Don't talk about faith. Don't talk about politics. My name is Jerome McClain, host of Jerome McClain Show, and I want to introduce you to a show called Over-Opinionated with my friend from Southwest Virginia, Josh Scott. Josh has always been told he has been over-opinionated. He always tried to hold back these opinions, but he tried to back them up when he had to say something with facts and logic. Since he's grown up in many ways, he had to change a lot of his views and his opinions, as a lot of people should. He's not a millionaire from Fox News or CNN. He's just a hard-working, blue-collar type of guy. Give Josh Scott a shot at Over-Opinionated with Josh Scott. You can find him on patreon.com/overopinionated at 679. You can also check him out on Twitter at NRV_guy79. Over-Opinionated with Josh Scott, where he is this soft-spoken guy telling you the truth.
We talk about a lot of serious topics on this show. One very serious topic is women's health. One company that stood out to me was vslay.com because the owner is very transparent about her own struggles in the women's health department and has great customer service, great deals, and frequent sales. You can check her out, her great customer service, products about women's health, and frequent sales at www.vslay.com. That is www.vslay.com. Populism
I mean, I think one thing that you've seen over the years was that he clearly felt that an activist foreign policy and being a champion of the military and more military intervention is something that he's been talking about for decades, especially the Iran issue. And we've seen what's happened with that in the last few months as well. But that has been sort of the criticism of Lindsey Graham over the years, what you're talking about. But what he's also been very, very adept at as a political practitioner was getting himself in a position of power and influence and kind of knowing where the winds were blowing within the Republican Party and heading there. And in the process, giving himself an ability to survive politically, to win election after election, and to increase his seniority in the Senate, and to have more power for the people of South Carolina. I mean, this will certainly, South Carolina is a solidly Republican seat. It's hard to imagine, a flipping of South Carolina, North Carolina in a bit of a different place. But it's a bit early to start talking about the political realities of what happens next, as we all, I think, are just in public service.
So I will be writing a piece about the passing of Senator Lindsey Graham, 71 years old, and I'd written a piece recently kind of making fun of him. I think it said something, the curious case of Lindsey Graham, yada, yada, yada. And it was funny, and I stand by what I wrote. But I will say this. Lindsey Graham was a patriot. He was somebody who put this country first in everything that he did. Whether I agreed with him 100% of the time is irrelevant. Everything that Lindsey Graham did has been because he thought it was the best thing for the United States of America. Lindsey Graham historically did not even was not even married. And a lot of people made fun of him because of that and hinted about his sexual preferences. But that's kind of neither here nor there. Because that's kind of what they say about everybody who decides, let's say that God gave them the gift of celibacy. It doesn't come to a lot of people. So when people do have that gift, that God gave them the gift of celibacy, people will pick on them and say they're homosexuals. At this point in time, a man of his age who had been in South Carolina politics for as long as he had been, was great friends with the late senator and another lion of the Senate, John McCain, and another lion. He was the enemy of the Democratic Party, etc., because he held the line from people like me. And what I mean people like me is the radicals. The way I present in public is a moderate adult. But my politics, personal politics of what I would like to see in society, people who listen to the show know very well I am a anarcho-syndicalist. I believe I am a very convinced person of that political ideology. And just because it is anarchy, which is because it's a part of the anarchist philosophy, ideology, a lot of people run away from it. I did not. I ran headlong into it. And I am very comfortably seated there. So I see people like Lindsey Graham politically as my foe. Notice the word I said, foe. He's not what's best for the Republic. A global thinker, and I'm not always thinking about the Republic in and of itself. And Lindsey Graham was somebody who thought about the Republic and the state of South Carolina and how that aligned in the Middle East, specifically and that's kind of how he viewed the world. America, South Carolina was good for South Carolina, is good for America, and was good for the country of Israel because he was a devout Christian, even though he didn't talk about it a lot. And so he really believed, like I believe, that God does have a particular plan for Israel. And a controversial part of my belief system is physical Israel. So we'll try to be as respectful as we can on this platform, because I know that's not what the late senator is going to get in a lot of other places, but he will get the respect that he deserves here.
And he was just in Ukraine. He was just meeting with the Ukrainian president. What did he accomplish on that trip? And assuming from what we saw in all of the videos, the statements that he was making, he appeared to be in very good health, just in usual form. There was certainly no outward indication that there was anything physically wrong. His office saying this was a very brief, sudden and brief illness, they said in their statement.
And we don't know what that means. Because he was posting about President Trump's trip to NATO and conversations that he was having with folks about that like 2 days ago. So how brief was this illness? We don't know what exactly that means. Is that a heart attack? You know, at this point, I think a lot of it would be speculation to try to think about that. But yeah, I mean, Lindsey Graham, by every indication, was working up until the very last day and certainly putting out a public image that there were no issues at all. And he was very much involved in the job as a senator from South Carolina, especially on the job of the foreign relations of the United States.
And a very strong ally of President Trump, who also really knew how to turn on the Southern charm. So even when he was talking about some of these contentious and controversial issues, there was something very charming about Lindsey Graham. He was a likable guy. From people that have met him, people that have interviewed him, and they found him to be a very unique character, a unique personality in Washington.
Yeah, and he I think really liked the media and had a long-standing relationship with many folks in it. I remember interviewing him myself back in 2016 when he was running for president, and it was stunning how anti-Trump his language was, warning about what would happen if Donald Trump became president. And then, of course, after he became president, he became one of his closest allies. They would often golf together. President Trump and Lindsey Graham and joke around on the golf course. I mean, for anybody that's met Donald Trump, he too is a very charming guy. And the two of them would go back and forth in terms of jokes with each other. And I think both of them, as people who sort of appreciate politics, were able to get over all those insults that they went back and forth on, and have a very productive working relationship for each other. Lindsey Graham was somebody who helped to deliver for President Trump in a lot of ways in the Senate. And President Trump was very helpful for Lindsey Graham's career. As we've seen, I mean, he, as you mentioned, he won the South Carolina primary because there wasn't a real challenger. President Trump, as we've seen in the last few months, can endorse challengers to Republican primary opponents in the Senate, and essentially end the careers of Republican senators in the process. He did that with John Cornyn in Texas. He did that with Bill Cassidy in Louisiana. He's been a supporter of Lindsey Graham. So they were able to move past their past problems and develop a very strong working relationship. And I think Lindsey Graham is one of the senators from all the reporting that President Trump was actually in touch with most in the United States Senate, as somebody who would work with him on formulating strategy on how to get things done.
And President Trump certainly loves a turnaround story, somebody who is at one point a very contentious critic and that they're trading bars back and forth. If that person then turns around and starts to praise President Trump, as Senator Lindsey Graham often did, and praised him very effusively in public and often, President Trump values that relationship and he takes care of those people.
So there we have it. Senator Lindsey Graham, the long-serving senator from South Carolina, passed away unexpectedly at the age of 71 years old. Because I want to keep this as serious as possible, we're going to end the show with that. And rest in peace, Senator Lindsey Graham, a patriot who did the best that he believed for the United States of America. We'll talk about this in detail on another episode, but not today.
thank you for listening to today's episode. Of course, if you want to support the show, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com and getting a membership for as little as $3 a month. Again, that's www.patreon.com/The Jerome McClain Show. The Jerome McClain Show is fully listener-supported, independent media that won't lead you to tribalism. Get a membership and support independent media at www.patreon.com/The Jerome McClain Show.